I've always believed when life hits you hard, it's up to the little things to help you find joy and scrabble yourself back together. Things like making your bed, burning your favorite candle, or making a nice oat milk vanilla latte in the morning. These are very little things that bring me joy whenever life has been rough. I'm starting this video with a gentle reminder of the little joys in life because this video is sad. But I also know that this is going to help me in the healing process, and I know a lot of you have been asking me questions and I feel like it is time to address what has happened. So this video, I'm going to give you a life update, and I never really thought that I would be giving this life update. I didn't see it coming whatsoever, and it's still quite fresh in my memory. So my lovely online friend watching this video right now, it is time for me to tell you my story. And before I do, I wanted to ask you a favor. And that favor is to please keep your judgments for yourself. Both when it comes to me and the other person in the story involved. It would be very much appreciated if any sorts of criticism or personal questions can be left behind and not mentioned in the comments. I obviously really appreciate your support, but right now I am just not in a mental state to deal with any forms of criticism, or I don't really want to share any more personal details than I will do in this video. I really hope you understand. I'm sure you do. I know that you and the rest of my viewers are honestly such amazing and supportive and mature people, so I'm very lucky with that. But I just really wanted to emphasize that because in this story it's not only about me but also about another person, and my life is quite public but not everything, and I want to respect the privacy of the other person involved in the story. So if you could, refrain from any criticism or personal comments, that would be really much appreciated. I do have to say before I jump in, I wrote a blog post that goes with this video where I express my feelings a little bit more eloquently. It has always been easier for me to write down my feelings rather than to express them on a video. Yeah, if you want to read a bit more about all of it, definitely check out the blog post. I will have linked it in the description box down below. It's just on my blog. So, my story starts with me meeting this person online. We met through an online dating app. I don't think I ever told you guys that. And the moment that I met him, I was actually ready to end dating. And I was also considering moving back to the Netherlands because I was debating if I still wanted to stay in Los Angeles or not. And from the very first date, we really clicked. And we were pretty much inseparable. It was also because we lived really close to each other. It really felt like I was in a relationship with the boy next door because we only lived 2 blocks from each other, which is really rare in Los Angeles. And we would just spend every moment together. And I was falling pretty hard for him. I really liked his kindness, his patience. He seemed to be very open-minded. And he felt like the lifeline or the support that I was seeking in Los Angeles and I couldn't find. He seemed to be the right person in the right time. But now that I'm looking back, I realized that it was probably the wrong person, but at the right time. And it's funny that I'm saying that because actually my previous relationship I kind of felt the same way. Anyways, I digress. So me and him were inseparable. We literally spent so much time together, and I was just so happy. I really felt like moving to LA and him were not a coincidence. Like, our lives were supposed to intertwine in this city. But everything changed when he made a very big life decision. And I had a really hard time accepting this decision for multiple reasons. And this decision was him joining the military. I am, if you meet me, the biggest pacifist. So the military in general is definitely not my cup of tea. And because I felt like he had other alternative routes that would take him closer to his final goals, I didn't really understand his decision-making process. And now that I look back, this would have been the right moment to part ways. Because from this moment on, I felt like I was sacrificing something in a relationship for him, for his ambitions and his goals. A successful relationship in my eyes was a relationship where it feels like you are on the same team. You both lift each other up, work towards each other's goals, and help make each other's dreams reality. And even though his dreams were very far away from what I wanted in life, I felt like I would be letting myself down and my idea of an amazing, great partnership, relationship, if I didn't support him in this decision. So even though my heart was aching and my intuition was telling me, Lilia, are you sure you want to start this journey? My heart was saying, you need to do this because love conquers all, right? You're gonna come stronger out of this, and you got this. He's the one, you know? Now that I hear myself say these things out loud, it's funny because I realized that even in that moment in time, we were already on such different pages, because I was focused on making this relationship work and being as supportive as I could as a partner. And that sentiment, that idea was not reciprocated whatsoever. It got even worse because a month before he was supposed to leave, he expressed his doubts about his love for me. That was really, really hard for me to hear, and I was ready to end the relationship because I thought, okay, you know, it's over, it's done. He doesn't love me anymore, and he's breaking up with me right before he goes to the military. But after a few days, he came back and he said he made the biggest mistake of his life, that he loved me, that he was just confused. And I forgave him. I gladly forgave him because all I wanted was for us to work. But I was again so focused on being a great supportive person in the relationship that I didn't really think about my own feelings and how my own heart got hurt and how I also mattered and what I wanted and needed mattered. So even though I forgave him, the pain started to create cracks in my heart, cracks of doubts, insecurity, things I usually don't experience in a relationship because I'm very confident and I'm very loyal and I know what I want and I really trust my partner. But that moment just really changed everything for me, and it never got better. So when he left for the military for 5 months, we were only together for half a year. It was honestly pretty crazy to think that I was willing to wait for somebody for as long as I knew them. And looking back, I wouldn't have done it again. Those 5 months were extremely hard for me. And I know what maybe you're thinking 5 months is not the end of the world. I mean, most of us during COVID haven't seen our families for over a year. But the thing is that I wasn't only in a long distance relationship with my boyfriend. I was also in a long distance relationship with my family, my mom, my uncle, my grandma, and my best friends. So having that additional long distance relationship added to my bucket of long distance really did it overflow. And I felt so isolated and like I had no support system in the city. And I don't think I've ever felt this much resentment and anxiety and depression in my life. I was just really not in a good place because for some reason I felt like I was dumped. I was saying goodbye and I didn't know why I felt that way because we were still together. But now I know that it was my intuition telling me, preparing me for what was coming ahead. So after we got through the 5 months of being apart, he finally came home to me and I was so excited because I felt like all my sacrifices were going to be paid off. I felt that 2022 would be my year. It would be the year that I would find balance and peace and stability because I would be moving in with the love of my life. I felt like a huge weight, would be lifted off my shoulders, and 2022 would totally become my year together with him. So after waiting for him for 5 months, he left me after being back for 2 weeks. Our 1 year of loving each other just disappeared in a very brief conversation, a 15-minute conversation. 2 hours later, he was packed, he rented a car, and he left. And he didn't look back, and I haven't heard from him ever since. So that is the story of what happened. And I can say that even though this story might sound pretty sad, and I have been sad for it, I am already realizing that him leaving me was the best thing he could have done for me. Because it happens pretty rapidly, but after a few days, I started to realize how many red flags, how much toxic manipulation, people-pleasing, and lies that were involved in this relationship. And there's always two sides to every story. But what I can say is that I did not deserve to be treated like this. And I have never lied or manipulated the person I love or any person I love. And I realized that I sacrificed so much for this relationship in order to stay in it that I haven't been happy for so long. These 5 months were the most miserable months of my life recently, and all I can say is that ever since he broke up with me, I have felt such a relief and such a freedom, such a weight lifted off my shoulders because I realized I don't have to worry about anybody anymore except for myself. I don't have to give my love and feel not appreciated and not valued. I don't have to make compromises or sacrifices for somebody that is not appreciative. And most importantly, all this love that I have, I don't have to seek external validation and external love to fill the void I have inside of me. I can actually fill it myself with self-love because I have so much love to give and I deserve it. And there's no person better than me that can love me. So for the very first time in my life, I'm actually very happy to be single. And I've never really felt that way. I always felt like a part of me was looking for that other person, that other half, to fill the void, to fill the loneliness I was feeling inside. But now I realize that I am worth so much, and I am not going to settle for disappointing men that try to keep me small and tell me that I am too much. Because I'm a woman that's larger than life. And most of the men that I've come across will not be able to handle that. And that's totally cool, because the only person that I need love from is myself. So my lovely online friends, that was the story. And before I end this video, I wanted to share my lessons I've learned, because I feel like that is one of the most important parts of life, of relationships, of falling in love. It's the lessons we learn. The very first lesson that I've learned this lesson before, but I feel even stronger about it now. And that is that you should trust your intuition. So often do we feel certain things, we notice certain little things, but we don't give in to them because our mind, our ratio, is telling us these alternative scenarios of the reality. Like, no, we don't have to worry about him being distant. He's probably tired. No, he's really busy. That is why he's not texting you. But your intuition never makes excuses. It's your mind that makes excuses for flakiness and for flaky people. I have understood that 10 out of 10 times my intuition was right, and that my mind was just telling me stories, feeding into the lies, rather than actually being realistic. So if something feels off to you, if you are in a relationship, if you are dating somebody, if, whatever is going on, listen to your intuition, because you already have all the answers you need inside of you. Secondly, people pleasing is a very toxic form of manipulation. And I had no idea about people pleasing even being bad. I personally feel or felt like people pleasing is nice, like you're making a compromise, making a sacrifice because you want to please somebody. But to a certain extent, a little people pleasing, a few compromises, a few sacrifices are okay. But if you take it overboard, you will never really get to know the person. Because somebody that's only pleasing people is never really truly themselves. And if you don't know who somebody is, that is a very dangerous thing. Because usually it's going to be a cycle of creating a certain persona, seeming like the perfect partner, and then all of a sudden exploding on you for a little thing. And it creates this dynamic of fear, of worry, of anxiety, because you never know, when is this something that my significant other wants, and when is it something they're doing because they're trying to please me, but it's not really them, and eventually their bucket is going to be overflowing and they're gonna get annoyed and pissed and angry. And that is something I really discovered in this relationship, that a person who doesn't really know who they are, who doesn't stand up for themselves, who doesn't have their own boundaries, their own interests, they will create a very toxic dynamic in your relationship, especially if you are very secure and certain about yourself. Sorry, my camera died, so if the angle changed slightly, I apologize. But what I can say is that from now on, I'm only going to date somebody who is 100% confident about what they want, what their boundaries are, who they are, because people that are confused are dangerous. So put in the work to know yourself, to figure out who you are, to figure out what you want and what you don't want, and make sure that the person you're with knows that too. And last but not least, make sure you're asking yourself the most important question in whatever relationship you are. It doesn't matter if it's with friends, romantically, or even with family. But ask yourself this: are the people in my life, is this person making me happy, Or is it just because I'm afraid to let go and be alone? For a very long time in my relationship, I tried to hold on as much as I could because I was so afraid to lose him. Especially because my relationship was public and it was the very first time I had a very public relationship. And I was embarrassed. I felt like, shit, Lilia, you're breaking up. You suck at love again. But now I realize that it's okay. There's nothing to be embarrassed about because love is a beautiful thing, and being able to love a person, it's brave, it's courageous. It's not embarrassing. I don't think there's a person in this world who has never experienced heartbreak. The reason why I wanted to make this video is to support any woman or any man watching this video and thinking that they're alone, thinking that they should be embarrassed, they're ashamed, thinking that everybody around them has these perfect relationships and only them. They are at fault because they can't find the right fit. Well, I'm not going to tell you that you will ever find the right fit because I have a hard time finding the right fit too. But what I can say is that you by yourself are enough. And you don't need anybody filling your void. And if you feel a void inside you, if you really feel like something is missing, that is your self-love that is missing. And you can fill that void with your own love. You don't need anybody else doing it for you because nobody can do it as well as you. So, my lovely online friend watching this video, thank you. Thank you so much. I felt like I have laid out my soul for you guys. If you made it through the end, if you watched it all, please let me know in the comments down below because that's definitely a big commitment and I really appreciate you. After this video, I'm going to be back on track with my regular content, my regular program, and I'm also definitely planning on writing more and working on that philosophy podcast because I feel incredibly inspired and finally in the right mindset to work on it. So I'm going to leave you right now with this thought. I hope you're all having a beautiful day. I will talk to you very, very soon. And I love you all so, so much. Bye, guys.